Hello, and thank you so much for your interest in eighth grade math at eXtend Homeschool Tutorial. My name is Kym Kent. In addition to serving as the director along with Nicole Green of eXtend Homeschool Tutorial, I'm also serving as the eighth grade math pre-algebra instructor here. So this video is designed to answer a lot of questions that you may have about the class and just give you some just generalized information. So with that, let's get going. So for this class, one of the prerequisites is successful completion of seventh grade math or the equivalent with a C or better. This class is a natural progression. If you're at eXtend after taking Horizon 7, I know Horizon 7 is labeled as pre-algebra. I like to call it pre-algebra light. So we use Saxon, and Saxon is pre-algebra heavy. Okay, and if you're coming in new to the tutorial, please don't be offended. I'm gonna do an assessment because we want to make sure that this class is appropriate for your student. So expect that. If you're already in Mrs. Bracey's seventh grade math class, then I already know if you're supposed to be in my class or not. So, okay, let's keep on going. The curriculum for this class, as I mentioned, is Saxon Algebra Half, which is the pre-algebra class for Saxon. It is actually an eighth grade curriculum. You only need the student textbook. I really recommend getting it used because you can get it pretty inexpensively. Please make sure you have the third edition. The second edition has different questions, has a different order and sequence. So it's not going to be helpful if you have the second edition. You need the third edition, and there are plenty of them available and plenty available used. Oh my goodness. All right. Also, do not purchase a test packet. If you get it as part of a package deal, okay, but just know that we're not using that because I make my own test for this class. I don't recommend getting the homeschool packet either because that just has answers. It doesn't tell you like step by step how to get particular answers for a question. What I do recommend for at-home use, it's completely optional, is the solutions manual. But please understand that this is for the parents' use only. What should not happen is that parents should not be giving the solutions manual to the students because it's real easy for the students to want to just go and start copying answers down. The reality is I usually know when that happens because invariably at some point in time or another, a student will, if they're doing that, they'll be tooling along in their homework and they'll start off with some of the work from the question that they're supposed to be answering, and then will give me the answer from either the question before or after the question that was assigned. Whatever. So again, I'm just going to say that solutions manual is for the parents, not for the students. I'm going to leave that alone. Okay. Now, what can you expect from this class? We're going to do 123 lessons. You should think about that. 123 lessons. We're going to get it all done during the year. The students have to complete and submit all 123 problem sets. Now, we only do the even numbers, and additional ones is directed in my instructions. And beginning week 2, the students are taking an at-home test every single week. These tests are open book and open note. Okay. And the reason I feel really comfortable doing that was twofold. Number one, I don't expect you to know everything from day one. What I do expect is probably by the end of the year, a lot of the stuff that you've been referring to the notes for are going to become second nature to you, right? So, and those notes in that book are not going to give you the answer unless it's what I call a gimme question, in which case you should always get it right. Just open up the book and write the definition of what, I don't know, of what an equilateral triangle is. I'm just throwing something out there. But they're not going to give you, like, you have to do the work. You have to be able to, the student has to be able to determine that this is the kind of question it is, and this is the process for doing it, and then properly using that process. So that's why I really don't have a problem with my test being open book and open note. I really encourage it. And that's the same with homework as well. Okay. This class is fun because I do a lot of, I break everything down, hopefully to the ridiculous for some kids. And we do some crazy little songs like when we do like sign numbers and whatever, stuff that they'll probably remember in their old age. But it is, and I'm not going to say but, I'm saying, and it is intense. So again, go back to the fact that we're doing 123 lessons. That's a lot. So one of the things that I say about this class is that it is just as much a test of your students' discipline as it is their math skills. So I need you to think about that. All right, this class is also going to be administered using Google Classroom. All assignments need to be submitted and returned, are going to be submitted and returned through Google Classroom. All work has to be submitted as a single PDF or a Google document. If you give me 2 or 3 PDFs, I'm going to send it right back to you and go, I need you to put it down as a single PDF. Now, what's good is that I've created videos and I've posted them in Google Classroom that take you step by step of how to submit a single PDF. And I'm saying it's not or, it's an and there's a video in there that takes you step by step of how to submit your work as a Google document, not the link to a Google document, but the actual Google document. Okay, so those are your 2 options: single PDF, single Google document. All right. There is an optional study group available once a week. I recommend that if you feel like your student needs it. If your student doesn't need it, don't do it. I'm okay. And then, of course, you'll get quarterly reports in the end of your grade through Google Classroom and GradeKeeper. I still like GradeKeeper, so I still use it. Anyway, let's keep on going. The study group, about that, it's if your student is new to Saxon, and this is like a whole new animal to them, I'm going to say you might want to think about that. It meets once a week via Zoom for 90 minutes, September through May. I'm still kind of figuring out the date, but that's why I put it in here. I'm really leaning towards Wednesdays from 11 to 12:30, only because that's going to be my second day for my Algebra 1 students. Algebra 1 meets twice a week. Pre-Algebra just meets once a week. And the formula with that, the format for those study groups is that we're going to start by asks. You will see in homework, I'll do something, my scribble that says something that looks like an ask, meaning I'm expecting you to ask that question, any questions the student have regarding problems that they're working through with the homework, or maybe something that I went over in class they didn't quite get, they want to just kind of revisit that one more time, we'll do that. And then I'm just going to say we always have time after that. Then we go in and we start doing a problem set, and I'll always use the latest one. So let's say, for example, it's on Monday, we go through lessons 74 and 75, and I assign 74 and 75 to be done on Wednesday. Then on that Wednesday study group, we'll start with 75 because 75 will also include work from 74. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So that's kind of how we do with study group. And there literally is not a study group that goes by that we don't finish at least 1 lesson. Sometimes it's 2. Okay. Study group fees are month to month. The beauty of that is that, let's say your student is rocking and rolling, and September they don't need it, October they don't need it, November they're sort of thinking about it, but by December you're like, or really by January you're like, we need study group. So you can come in then. So that's done by design, because I really feel, just like we have our classes that are a la carte, for me, study group needs to be a la carte too, because there are times you just don't need it. If you don't need it, okay, that's good. But if you do need it, then you can come on in. So that allows a little bit of flexibility for students to join in and pull out as needed. Okay, and then it's $20 per month, do the first of the month, September, October, and November. I don't charge in December because we're only meeting 1 time in December. In May, I think we only meet 1 time as well. So there you go. All right, next. Student expectations. Stay on top of all assignments. Listen, let's go back to the fact that we're doing 123 lessons. You need to stay on top of your work. It is very difficult, if not near impossible, to catch up once you fall behind. It is what it is. Okay, so you need to stay on top of it. I recommend getting into a habit of, we're doing 4 or 5 lessons a week. Classes on Tuesday night, do an assignment. Wednesday, especially if you're in a study group, Wednesday, we're going to do that other assignment. Thursday, we do lesson, do an assignment. Friday, do an assignment, and another one on Monday, if we're doing 5 a week. Later on in the year, we scale down to 4 a week, but you kind of need to get comfortable with the whole idea of 5 a week. I'm just saying, you do. And then you got to test every week starting week 2. Okay. Anyway, and you need to show your work. Because in math, you need to show your work. You just got to. I can't even, I use those words all the time. Show your work. If you just give me an answer, I don't care if it's correct. If you don't show me work, you're automatically getting half a point taken off. Why? Because that is a discipline that you must nail down right now. Why? Because when you go on later on to math, they don't care if you have the perfect answer. If you show them no work, you get 0. I'm at least giving you half a point. So this is a discipline that you're going to, again, as I said before with this class, a lot of it is math, a whole lot of it is also discipline. Take notes. We're going to be taking lots of notes in this class. I'm also going to provide each student with a formula notebook that we're going to develop over the course of the year. That came from a conversation, multiple conversations with Mrs. Bracy, because in advanced math, she uses a formula notebook. And I said, you know what? I like my 3x5 cards, but if they're going to be using a formula notebook in advanced math, let me go ahead and start them using a formula notebook now. And so back actually, even my sixth graders use a formula notebook. Pre-algebra, you're gonna be using a formula notebook. All right, ask questions. It is so important. Listen, you have not because you ask not. Ask questions. Get the understanding that you need so that you can build success in this class. Be prepared, have your textbook, have your questions ready. And then academic integrity, I already mentioned it earlier on. Academic integrity, it matters. Even when you're homeschooling, it matters. All right, next. Parents, please help your students stay on top of their assignments. Please be checking Google Classroom Weekly. Please make sure that you're signing up for the Guardian summaries from Google Classroom. Also, make sure that they're paying attention to the instructions in Google Classroom. This is for everybody. At the top of the work section, the classwork section, there's a heading that says ongoing instructions for homework completion and tests. It is so important that you're paying attention to those instructions because, for example, like one of the first ones is that in my class, when we're doing graphing on a coordinate plane, you are not to submit to me a hand-drawn or hand-numbered graph, period. If you submit to me a hand-numbered or hand-drawn graph, you will get no credit. You must use a pre-printed, pre-numbered graph. I'm going to give you a bunch of them anyway. That's going to be part of the things that I give to you over the course of the year. That's going to be part of a folder that I'm going to give you on day 1 along with your formula notebook. But then also in Google Classroom, there will be PDFs that you can print off right there at home if you need to. But that's one of those things that you've got to be paying attention in Google Classroom to those notes that tell you these are the requirements for homework. One of the other things that I am like intent on making sure that your students learn is how to read and how to follow instructions. Again, that goes back to that discipline thing. All right, please check their work. Make sure that they're showing work. If you have a solutions manual at home, you can look over and you can see the questions that they got wrong. Go, hey, can you go back and look at question number 4? Because I think something went off there. And give them an opportunity to redo it, to take a second look and rework it and hopefully get it right the second time around. You know, there's something amazing that happens when, and I know it sounds crazy, but when students make mistakes, but then they can go back and correct them because then they learn what to look out for. They learn, oh, if I need to watch out for this because I made this mistake. I want to make sure I don't make it again. There's a lot of power in that. That really empowers them as students. So I'm going to encourage you as a parent to come alongside and check their work. Encourage them to use their notes. There is no reason why students should not be having their notes and their book right with them when they're doing a homework and when they're doing tests. It's by design for this class to do that. So please encourage them to use those notes. Encourage them to ask questions. Oh my goodness. There's no reason to be struggling. Just ask. Ask. Your neighbor needs to know the same question. I'm going to listen. And I'm one who, I cheer the people that ask questions. I'm like my first, and you can ask any of my students, my first response is always, thank you for asking that question. And then I'll go into the answer. All right. And then of course, please encourage academic integrity. Can't say that enough. All right, next, summer prep, okay? If your student needs a little assistance, a little bit of a boost to help prepare them for this class, I do offer a 5-day, 1-week-long summer prep class. Each topic, and you'll see that in this slide, each one is a standalone session. Okay. So if you only need geometry, then just do session 5. If you got some issues with exponents and roots and sine numbers, you might want to be in session number 2. These two are also a la carte, just like study group. It's a la carte. Only take what you need. If you need it all, great, take it all. If you don't need it all, great, don't take it all. So there's that. All right, and then finally, communication and contact information. You know, I'm going to be communicating through Google Classroom in the Google Stream, and then and I'm also going to be writing. I may send little notes through Google Classroom as I'm returning notes. Hey, watch this, or you forgot all these questions. Go back and submit them. Anyway, so there's that. Texting is the best and the quickest way to reach me. I will tell you on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, I'm up at 5:30 in the morning, getting myself up and my kids up and out the door so that we can be at Mount Oak by 7:30, opening up the doors and get stuff ready to rock and roll. So if you send me an email on Tuesday or Thursday morning, you can guarantee that I'm not going to see it. I'm just not. So the best way is to text me. Email is kind of like snail mail for me, because those of you who've known me for some time, you've seen the timestamps on those emails. I usually get to email until really, really, really late at night. So if you're trying to catch up with me right away, please just text me. Mondays and Fridays are days that I've set aside if I need to address something bigger than just a quick little shooting you a text back. I'll usually wait till Monday or Friday to address it. So don't be offended. Remember, I'm homeschooling too. I got 2 in this thing. And I got graduates too that are just like, Mom. So anywho, so there you go. Hopefully I've answered a lot of your questions regarding my class. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Send me a text, send me an email, and I will respond back. So again, thank you so much for your interest, and hopefully I'll be seeing you in the fall in 8th grade math. Thanks so much for watching.